welcome in Utrecht. We are from the south, from Belgium. We are from Woodstein, but we are very happy to meet you and that you make some time for us free to do this small interview. Thank you a lot. Mrs. Shannon McNally, you did not grow up with dolls or toys, I think, but with a lot of music around you in the living room in your family.
Yeah.
Do you think that you are destined to become a musician?
I don't know. I didn't have any musicians in my family,
No.
just people who like music.
But your parents like a lot of music?
Yeah, they liked a lot of music. But I don't know. I saw Tom Petty when I was 15 and thought.
But why did you want to become a musician and not?
Well, I always liked music, and I always listened to music, and I was emotionally involved in what I was listening to. At the time, I didn't know that was, that was a child, so I didn't know that's, a thing. But when I was 15, I saw Tom Petty in concert, and
the first thing that you wanted to become, that was a musician.
No.
And you?
No, the first thing I thought I would be a veterinarian.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought I'd be a veterinarian or I don't know, maybe nothing really else. I thought I'd be a veterinarian when I was a little kid. And but then I saw Tom Petty when I was 15 and thought I had like out of body experience.
Yeah. After a lot of CDs, albums, we can say that you are a singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
Can you say what kind of singer-songwriter that you are? How would you describe yourself when you have to say?
I call it's Americana, yeah. And
but what I hear on your latest album is not only Americana.
But I think Americana is a bigger term. I think it has a broader definition than maybe. American music has changed so much. I mean, when I think of, I definitely don't really make pop music.
No.
Right? And I don't play bluegrass, and I'm not a straight blues player.
On the album you're playing also blues.
Yeah, some, but I don't play only blues.
Gospel.
Yeah, but all of that will fall under the Americana umbrella.
Okay. Shut up. Okay. You were in your life once a busker in Paris.
Yes, long time ago.
Singing on the streets. Then you signed with Capitol Records.
Yes.
And you brought out your first album that I don't have, sorry.
That's okay.
That's a Jukebox Sparrows era.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
Yes.
How do you look back until then? Until that...
Yeah. I'm very proud of all my records. I don't look back on the early ones and think, ugh, I didn't get that right. I see it as a first record, as an early record, but I think it was all pretty clear to where it was wanted to go.
Yeah.
And so I think there's plenty of room to mature and to get more confident.
No, you're saying that you have a goal, that you see that you have a thing that you want to go to.
Yeah. I initially always wanted to be part of a band, but I never could make that happen. But I still hear myself with a band. Okay. That's what I enjoy the most. But bands are hard to keep together, expensive, and if it's not truly a band, it's hard. But so I always see it as a sort of a 6 or 7 piece band, and one that I can really work the dynamics. The dynamics.
The Jukebox Sparrows was your first album. We call it your debut.
Yeah.
Debut or
debut.
Debut. We say in French debut, but that's a problem. But one special album. That's this one.
Yes, Small Town Talk.
It's an album with songs of Bobby Charles.
Yes. Yeah.
Why that specific album? Because it doesn't. I can't say it doesn't fit, but it's a special album.
Yeah. Well. Bobby was a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And he, of course, was a really important songwriter.
Can you tell us something more about Bobby? Because I don't think that we all know Bobby Charles.
Bobby Charles was sort of the missing link to rock and roll.
Oh.
Yeah, he was the first white artist signed to Chess Records in 1954, and they signed him by mistake. They didn't know he was white at the time. But he wrote songs with Fats Domino, and he wrote a lot of songs for Fats Domino. He and Dr. John were very good friends as teenagers, and they worked with Cosmo Matassa's studio.
Yeah.
And so they were like staff writers and staff players at Cosmos.
Good.
And so they worked with they worked on Chuck Berry records and Little Richard records and you name it, all Alan Toussaint.
Good.
So he was constant,
Yeah.
and I got to be friends with him. And he had,
How did you met him, or how were you connected with him?
I cut his song Tennessee Blues for Geronimo,
Oh, Geronimo.
and I cut this at a studio in South Louisiana in Lafayette, and he lived there. He lived up the road, and so he heard my version of his song,
Clicked.
and we clicked.
Yeah.
And then he had done a record in the early 70s with the band, and it was out of print at the time. And in 2007, for a jazz fest in New Orleans, they asked me to be part of a tribute to him, because he really is the kind of the godfather of something called swamp pop. Right?
Swamp pop.
Swamp pop is the beginning of rock and roll, is what it is. And anyway, I did the tribute, and on the tribute was Dr. John, and
Good job.
and Marcia Ball and Sonny Landreth,
Oh, so
and we
on
had
the keys.
such a great show. And afterwards, I said to Dr. John, I'd love to recut that record that you and Bobby made with the band in Woodstock in 1972. It's out of print, and I'd love to sing the whole record again. And Dr. John, to my pure delight and surprise, said, yeah, it's a great idea. So, and we called Bobby, and Bobby said, yeah, it's a great idea. So that's what we did.
Great. And then, of course, we have your, I may not say your latest, but your last album,
Yeah, it is the latest. June 9, it came out. Yeah.
Black Irish. That starts with the title.
Yes.
Because I read somewhere that in Irish history, or that the Celts, the people with the darker hair, like you, have special capacities.
Yeah, I don't know. The term means a lot to a lot of different people, lots of different things. I was just in Ireland, and so it has all kinds of different meanings depending on who you're talking to. But the way I understood that originally, the word in Irish for dub is dark, but what the Black Irish were initially were invaders of dark intentions. That's what the Irish called the Vikings when they invaded. So initially it didn't have anything to do with color. It was intention. And but in the New World, so there's what it means all over Europe to different people in Europe, but in what I call the New World, in the States, when the Irish came, I grew up, I'm of Irish descent, and when the Irish first got to the United States, in the social order of things, we were more second-class citizens, and of course we went on to be a big part of the city of New York. But I think that when I look at Americana music and American music, the blues, so it's two elements. It's the lyrical element, which comes from Irish bard tradition, first chorus, and the types of songs that came over with the British and the Irish. And then you add that to African rhythms, and you end up with the blues and bluegrass. And so you really can sort of trace.
You can link it.
You can link it.
Yeah.
And it's not inconsequential either that we were also second-class citizens along with, we were brought over to work, whether we were indentured servants or slaves or whatever we call the difference, but we made this incredible thing.
For me, it's somewhere a different album, or how can you compare it with the previous albums, or how different is the album? Because when I listen to Geronimo, it's special.
I think it's more mature.
Yeah.
I haven't made I made this record in 2007. I made a couple others in the meantime, but it took a while to put it out. I put it out in 2013, and while I was putting this record out, my mother was my mother passed away, but after a very long illness, and I took care of her, and so this is the first record after doing that, and working with Rodney Crowell. Rodney Crowell produced this record, completely different energy, much more songwriter based. I mean, these were all great records. Geronimo, I worked with Charlie Sexton, who he had just done Love Is That for Bob Dylan.
I feel more Robin than the other.
This
more
one,
power.
that definitely was like looking to shake things up. This one was really focused on my voice and the songs as a medium for my voice.
That's correct.
Yeah.
How personal is the album? Are the songs on the album?
Very personal, very personal. There's the song Ban Shimon, which I wrote with Rodney. And I had written it, and then Rodney edited it to a wonderful degree. It's interesting to me. I dedicated the record to women, essentially. You can see it in the dedication, but the song is about being a woman in the music business, and in considering just how overwhelming it is in the news right now. Obviously, I think you could tap into a pulse sometimes, and songs come in advance of other things happening. And that one did.
A lot of big musicians on the album.
Emmylou Harris.
Yes, on Prayer in Open D.
Yeah, well, she wrote that one.
The
she sings on Black Haired Boy, which is a song written by a woman named Susanna Clark, who was a friend of hers. But Susanna was married to Guy Clark, and the song's about Townes Van Zandt. And of course, Rodney was very dear friends with Townes, and with Guy Clark, and with Susanna, and with Emmylou Harris. So when I think this record to me is kind of, it's
recognition.
It's a wonderful, like I get to hang out with, some pretty amazing people.
You're a musician, but what turns you on beside music?
What?
You are a musician, but what turns you on beside music?
I love a lot of things. I like making things. I'm very much I like my home, and I garden and I grow a lot of plants, and I'm really into the way things smell, and I like essential oils and things like that.
Okay, so the last question. So, what are the plans for the near future? Are you working on an album or
I have
some special things?
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm very excited to do the next record. This one just came out, but I'm very excited to get back in the studio with Rodney again and do a follow-up, because I feel like with this one...
That must be difficult, because this is a special one.
It's very special, but I think the next one will be special with him too.
Okay.
He's a wonderful guide into tapping into the medium.
Okay, Shannon, our last question, my number 10 question for tonight. What can we expect? What will be on the set list? What do you expect from us?
Be a duo with acoustic guitar and electric guitar, and Brett and I swap off. I'll play some lead, I'll play a lot of rhythm, and some I'll just sing, and wonderful harmonies with Brett. And I'll sing, half the set will be off the new record, and then there'll be some new songs that aren't recorded.
You were satisfied about yesterday evening in Aarschot?
Oh, we had the best.
We know our fans there.
I think we had the best tour of the night of the tour. It was wonderful. The place was packed, and we had a great time. We closed the bar down too. We stayed up, and it was great. We had a wonderful time.
Okay, Mrs. Shannon McNally, that were my questions. Thank you again for your time.
Yes, my pleasure.
And I make some publicity if you want to see some more shows of Mrs. Shannon McNally. You have to go to Germany, you have to go to Sweden
Yeah.
or to Norway.
Yes.
Thank you lots.
Thank you.
Okay.